We gave this place all we got, didn't we?
Want to take a ride?
We don't know what the hell we're dealing with here.
Say some kind of warning? Do I look like a man? Hey, he took a ride.
You need to find out what they know before it gets more complicated.
You go to war, it'll get rough.
The final trailer of Dutton Ranch delivers a high-stakes narrative of survival and legacy. It begins with a family reflecting on their deep roots in Montana while embracing a fresh start in Texas after acquiring the Edwards Ranch. However, this transition is far from peaceful as local tensions rise in Rio Paloma. The plot thickens with warnings of an impending war, forcing the family to stand united against mysterious threats. With intense scenes of arson, standoffs, and emotional confrontation, the trailer emphasizes that family is the only thing worth fighting for. As the situation escalates, the characters prepare for a final showdown, declaring that they are ready to face whoever comes for them. It is a powerful journey of grit and determination against all odds.
Well, it looks like you all are expecting company.
They want us.
And they're gonna get us.
So the final trailer is here, and honestly, it hits harder than anything we've seen from this universe in a long time. This isn't just another teaser with pretty ranch shots and a few dramatic lines thrown in. This is a full picture of what Beth, Rip, and the rest of the family are walking into, and it's a lot darker than most people were probably expecting. If you thought moving to Texas meant leaving the chaos behind, this trailer just shut that idea down completely. It starts with something that actually feels rare for this universe: reflection. The family sitting with the weight of everything Montana meant to them, the roots, the history, the identity that was tied to that land for generations. And there's something genuinely emotional about watching these characters acknowledge what they're leaving behind. Because the Duttons don't do vulnerability easily, so when they do, you know the stakes are real. That opening alone sets a tone that's completely different from what we're used to, and it works. But that emotional weight doesn't last long before the trailer starts showing you exactly what's ahead. The move to Texas isn't just a geographical change, it's a declaration. Taking over the Edwards Ranch is a power move, and the people already living in and around Rio Paloma are not happy about it. And this is where things start getting really interesting, because the tension isn't coming from some faraway enemy or a political figure trying to grab land. It's local, it's personal, and that makes it so much more dangerous. Local tension in a place like this means everyone around you already knows the land, the people, the leverage points. These aren't strangers who need time to figure out how to come at you. They already know exactly where to push. And watching the Duttons step into that environment, where they're essentially the outsiders for once, completely flips the dynamic we've been watching for 5 seasons. Beth is used to being the most dangerous person in the room. But in Rio Paloma, that room is full of people who grew up playing this exact game. And that changes everything. What makes this section of the trailer so gripping is how it builds. It doesn't rush. It lets you feel the discomfort of the Duttons trying to plant roots in soil that's already pushing back. There are moments where you can sense the family holding themselves together purely through sheer will, because falling apart is not something any of them know how to do. Rip is steady as always, but even he looks like a man who knows the ground beneath him isn't solid. And for Rip Wheeler, that kind of uncertainty is rare enough to be genuinely alarming. Carter is there too, and it's clear this new environment is hitting him differently than it's hitting the adults. He didn't choose this life the way Beth and Rip did. He was brought into it, shaped by it, and now he's being replanted in the middle of it all over again. Watching him navigate this new place while also trying to figure out who he is as a person adds a layer to the story that feels fresh. Because unlike Beth, who meets hostility with hostility, Carter is still figuring out whether to fight or to run. And that internal conflict is going to make his storyline one of the most compelling things about this show. The trailer also makes it very clear that the warnings aren't subtle. People in Rio Paloma are not quietly grumbling about the new arrivals. They are saying directly, with full intention, that this will not end well. And the family is hearing every word of it. But here's the thing about the Duttons. Being told something won't end well has never once made them step back. If anything, it does the exact opposite. So instead of retreating, they start preparing. And the trailer shows you just enough of that preparation to make you realize that whatever is coming is going to be absolutely brutal. The arson scenes hit like a gut punch. Because fire isn't just destruction in a place like this. It's a message. It's someone saying, we know where you live, we know what you've built, and we can take it from you anytime we want. And watching something they just started building get reduced to ash before they've even settled in tells you everything about the kind of war this is going to be. This isn't a legal battle or a political chess match. This is raw, physical, and deeply personal. And yet, even in the middle of all that, the trailer keeps coming back to one thing: family. Not the Dutton name, not the ranch, not the legacy. The people. Beth looking at Rip like he's the only thing keeping her grounded. Rip standing in front of everything they have left, like moving him would require an act of God. Carter somewhere in the middle, still becoming whoever he's going to be. That core, that triangle of people who have absolutely nothing figured out except each other, is what this show is really about. But just when you think you have a handle on what the threat looks like and where it's coming from, the trailer drops something that makes you question everything you just assumed. Because the enemy in Rio Paloma, it might not be who you think it is. Now here's where the trailer stops easing you in and starts showing you exactly how deep this goes. Because the first section of the trailer was about arrival, about roots, about the emotional weight of starting over. But this section is something else entirely. This is where the gloves come off. And if you thought the tension in the opening was intense, what comes next makes that look like a warm-up. The standoff scenes in this trailer are unlike anything we've seen in this universe before. And that's saying a lot, because this is a universe that has never been shy about putting its characters in impossible situations. But there's something about the way these confrontations are framed in Rio Paloma that feels different, more claustrophobic, more inevitable, like everyone involved already knows how this ends, and they're just waiting for someone to make the first real move. That feeling of a slow burn that's about to explode is threaded through every single frame of this section, and it is absolutely suffocating in the best possible way. Let's talk about Beulah Jackson, because the trailer makes it very clear that she is not a background character. Annette Bening brings something to this role that this universe has genuinely never had before. A woman who isn't impressed by the Dutton name, not even a little. She has her own land, her own history, her own power, and she carries all of it with the kind of quiet confidence that is honestly more threatening than anything loud could ever be. Beth has spent years being the most formidable woman in every room she walks into. But Beulah Jackson walks into that same room and doesn't even acknowledge the competition. And that right there is what makes her so dangerous. Because Beth knows how to fight someone who comes at her directly. She's built for that. But someone who simply doesn't recognize her as a threat, that's a completely different problem. And the trailer doesn't show you a clean rivalry between these two women either. It's messier than that. There are moments where it almost looks like there could be a strange, reluctant respect forming between them. And then the very next moment completely destroys that idea. Because whatever is happening in Rio Paloma is bigger than two powerful women trying to figure out their dynamic. There are forces moving underneath everything, and both Beth and Beulah are caught in the middle of something neither of them fully controls. Which means at some point, they're either going to have to fight each other or fight together. And honestly, either option is going to be incredible to watch. Now let's get into Joaquin, because this character deserves a serious conversation. Pablo Raba is playing someone who operates completely in the background, and the trailer is very intentional about not giving you too much. You see him in flashes, a look here, a movement there. But every single time he appears on screen, the energy shifts. He has that quality that the most dangerous characters in this universe always have. The ability to make you nervous without doing anything obvious. Think about the first time you really understood what Rip Wheeler was capable of. It wasn't during a big, explosive moment. It was in the quiet ones. The way he looked at someone. The way he stood. Joaquin has that same energy, and the trailer is very deliberately rationing how much of him you see. Which means when he finally gets fully unleashed, it's going to be one of those moments that makes you stop breathing for a second. The foreman, Rob Will, played by Jai Courtney, is another piece of this puzzle that the trailer handles brilliantly. Because on the surface, he's exactly what a struggling ranch in a new territory needs. Experienced, capable, someone who knows the land and the people. But there is something sitting just beneath that surface that the trailer keeps nudging you toward without ever fully revealing. Small things. The way he looks at certain people when they're not watching. The way some of his responses come just a half second too slow, like he's calculating before he speaks. Rip is clearly reading all of it, and watching Rip try to figure out whether this man is an asset or a threat is one of the most quietly tense dynamics in the entire trailer. Because Rip doesn't make mistakes about people. He never has. So if he's unsure about Rob Will, that uncertainty means something significant. And then there's Zachariah. Mark Manaka brings this character in with a weight that you feel immediately. A former convict trying to rebuild something real is not a new story in this universe. But the way the trailer frames Zachariah makes it clear that his past isn't something he's fully escaped. There are people in Rio Paloma who know exactly who he was, and they haven't decided yet whether to give him the space to be someone different. That tension between who a person was and who they're trying to become is something this universe has always handled really well. And Zachariah looks like he's going to carry that storyline with a rawness that hits hard. Because redemption in a place like this isn't a clean journey. It never is. There are always people waiting for you to slip back into the version of yourself they've already decided you are. But here's what really elevates this section of the trailer above everything else. It's not just the individual character moments or the confrontations or the slow burn tension building in Rio Paloma. It's the way the trailer starts connecting all of these threads and showing you that none of this is random. The arson, the standoffs, the warnings, the new faces with unclear intentions. It's all part of something coordinated. Someone, or multiple someones, has been watching the Duttons move into that territory and has been planning a response long before they even arrived. This wasn't a reaction to their presence. This was waiting for them. And that realization changes everything about how you watch the rest of the trailer. Because suddenly, every friendly face and every offered hand looks a little different. The war that's being built toward in this trailer isn't just about land or power or legacy, even though all of those things are on the table. At its core, it's about whether the Duttons can survive being the hunted instead of the hunters. For 5 seasons, we watched them be the most dangerous thing in their environment. Other people came for them and paid for it. But Rio Paloma has been doing this longer than the Duttons have been alive. The people there have their own rules, their own history, their own way of handling threats. And walking into that with the Dutton name as your only shield is either incredibly brave or incredibly reckless. Maybe both. What the trailer also does really well in this section is use the emotional moments to make the violent ones hit harder. There's a scene, and if you blinked, you might have missed it, where Beth looks genuinely scared. Not angry, not calculating, not preparing a response. Just scared. And for anyone who has followed her character through 5 seasons of Yellowstone, that is one of the most alarming things you can possibly see. Because Beth Dutton does not scare easily. She has faced down governors, corporations, hitmen, and her own family. But something in Rio Paloma has gotten through that armor, and the trailer doesn't tell you what it is. It just shows you her face and lets that sit with you. And it sits heavy.